Hello friends and welcome back to Picture Astrology. Today we are going to talk about the effects of Sun in the first house of a Virgo Ascendant horoscope, meaning your rising sign is Virgo, which is the sixth sign of the horoscope or the zodiac, and Sun is posited right here. Sun, as we know, is the lord of sign Leo, which in this horoscope will be the 12th house. So we have 12th house Sun in the first house. Now Sun, as we know, represents a person's soul. It is basically the very core of your being. And Ascendant or the first house is one of the most important reference point in your horoscope. It is the vantage point from which your life plays out. So this two combination of the importance of Sun and the Ascendant makes this position a very significant placement in any chart. So in next few minutes we will see what this significant placement means for this placement. So before we begin our analysis of this position, let's see what all areas of life will be directly impacted by this placement. So first of all, Sun is placed in the ascendant or the rising position, which means it will affect your first house related matters, which includes your personality, which is both your physical as well as mental personality, because the rising sign shows your body structure and first house is the house of your brain. It is the place which houses your brain, the top of your head. So it represents your mental personality or how you think. So at the same time, first house is your life in general. So any placement or any influence on this place affects your life in multiple ways throughout, from the time of your birth till the time of your exit. Secondly, Sun is the lord of sign Leo, which is the 12th house. So it will affect, or this position will affect your 12th house related matters, which are generally related to your expenses or places or things on which you like to spend your money. Also, it shows the areas of life which gives you pleasure, because expending your life energy and money is a necessary thing to gain any kind of pleasure. You have to get physically, mentally involved or spend your life energies to get some kind of pleasure. Therefore, 12th house is house of both expenses as well as physical pleasure seeking. Now, from the first house, Sun will have a direct aspect on the 7th house, which is a very important house because it shows your marriage life as well as your partnership, especially the business partnership. Seventh house also shows your relationship with your counterparts in every field, and hence it becomes very important for any kind of business related matters. So it has a big impact on your work life as well. And finally, Sun is the natural significator of your father or anybody elder in your family or your surrounding. So this placement can also give you hints about how your relationships will be with those kind of people in your life. So now we have seen the umpteen number of areas which this just one placement can affect in your life. So now let's dive into each one of them in details. Hello. So first of all, let's talk about the personality. Now we know Sun is the center of our zodiac. Every other planet revolves around Sun. Similarly, Sun here in the first house of Virgo sign gives a personality which is very ambitious. Person with this placement generally have great ambition. They have great love of power. They love power. And since Sun is the lord of 12th house, 12th house has some negative connotations about expenses and the kind of personality traits it can give. So this love of power and ambitious nature can sometimes be construed or seen by others as someone who loves sycophancy. Some people might think that they love people to just adore them always, sort of say only good things about them. And that can happen if Sun is afflicted in this position. Otherwise, if Sun is not afflicted, their ambitious nature can lead them to reach new heights in life, because they are always very driven. There is never a moment in their life when they are not aware of their position in life and not working hard to reach the top of anywhere they are. Now let's talk about the physical body, the physical personality, and what are the impacts on this. So Sun is the lord of a negative 12th house in the first house. So physically what it can give is, it can give a highly acidic nature. It can give imbalances in the fiery element within the body, and which can result in a body which gets easily acidic. So anything they eat, especially spicy things or tea or coffee, any substance which inherently is acidic in nature, can be a little troublesome in long run. And this can come out or reflect itself in things like problem with eye. The eyesight could be weak. Many people who have glasses very early in life have this kind of placement. This is especially true if Sun is afflicted. It also manifests in frequent headaches. Sun on the first house, especially afflicted one, and even more so because it's lord of the 12th house, frequently shows sinus pain or headaches. And if there are extra affliction, there are some other yogas, then it can even give night blindedness or problem with eyesight when person is not able to see very clearly during the night. But remember that all of these problems or physical problems will be very difficult to manage only if the Sun is afflicted. If Sun is not afflicted, then you can easily cure them with, as I said, with putting on glasses early in life, taking good care of what you eat, and taking some normal precautions. Now Sun here in the first house is also associated with frequent hair falls. Sun is an enemy of Saturn, and Saturn represents hair. So when the Sun is in the first house, hair fall is a very common occurrence. And sometimes again, if there is affliction, there could be some skull related eczema also, which could lead to hair fall. Now in terms of physical appearance, this gives a squarish body, the face which has a squarish feel, not the round or oval shape, a pretty squarish one which has good jawbones, very clearly looking jawbones, and a personality which is quite imposing, someone you can't ignore or can't miss in a crowd, because it's Sun, it shines bright in a crowd also. Now let's quickly also talk about the 12th house matter, because it is also somewhat part of their personality. Because of their ambitious nature and Sun being the lord of house of expenses, which is the 12th house, these people love to spend money on show-offs. They could be great showmen. They love to show their wealth to people. And in doing so, they probably don't care about the amount of money they can spend. So once you are good friends with them, then also they don't care about, once they know that the person they are dealing with is highly respectful of their selves or their personality, or someone who looks up to them, then they don't care about any amount of money they can spend. And that is one characteristic which has to be really looked after or avoided when you have such personality. Because it's almost like if anybody who comes and satisfies your ego, you will probably do anything for them, irrespective of how much debt you can go in, or you can even spend beyond your own capacity to kind of satisfy your self-esteem or self-worth. So that is one trait which must be, I always recommend to take care of your spending, especially if it is on anything of like a showmanship. But on the flip side, the other side of it is, if the horoscope is otherwise good and planets like Venus, Mars, and Moon, if they are very strongly placed, then these guys could actually be a great event planner. People who organize grand events, events full of glamour, or someone who organizes and throws big parties, that is a possibility with this combination. But for that to happen, Venus, Mars and Mercury also, because Mercury is lord of the 10th house, those planets have to be very, very strongly placed in the horoscope. Now let's quickly talk about the relationship or marriage as well as the business partnership. Now this the Sun has a direct aspect on the 7th house, which is the house of marriage. And remember, for the complete understanding of marriage and relationship, we have to look at Venus, we have to look at Jupiter because it is the lord of 7th house. We also have to look at Mars because it governs your passions. But just this placement of Sun. Now, one good thing is Sun is a great friend of the lord of 7th house, Jupiter. Sun and Jupiter kind of, gels along very well. So this aspect of Sun here is not too bad for relationship. In fact, it kind of guarantees a good wife or good husband. And in general also, Virgo Ascendant are poised to get a very sensible and pragmatic partner, because the lord of 7th is Jupiter. Jupiter represents wisdom. So generally, the Virgo Ascendant is poised, as I said, to get a husband or wife who is full of wisdom. But what happens is that this Sun, because it gives a very ambitious nature, as we saw, person kind of like to always get an approval from their married partner. They always seek an approval from them. Every action they want, a nod of acceptance from their spouse. They always they want their spouse to kind of agree with their actions. They want their spouse to sort of look up to them and encourage them or satisfy their self-esteem all the time. They look towards them a lot to satisfy their self-worth, which could be a difficulty sometimes. But as I said, generally Virgo Ascendant is poised towards a very happy married life, and this placement doesn't change that that much. But to fully understand the relationship, we have to look at Venus, Jupiter and Mars placement as well. So my dear friends, this was my quick analysis of the placement of Sun in the first house in Virgo sign. I hope you liked it. Please do subscribe to my channel for more such videos. And until we see you again next time, have a blessed life. Bye-bye.